Hey there guys, what's up? Ragtter here, welcoming you back to Ladder Anxiety. You know, some people find competitive games to be incredibly stressful and they don't get very much enjoyment out of it. But it doesn't have to be that way. You can sit down and you can have a nice pleasant time with any competitive game of your choice. And today, we're going to play some Pokémon. We're going to play some Underused because I've got a new team that I've been preparing. And we're going to have a nice, pleasant evening regardless of whether we win or lose. I've also got a new setup going on here. I hope you enjoy it visually. Let me know if you do. I'd be very interested to see your critiques on it. But that's not important. What is important here is that we're going to lead off with Mamoswine. And Mamoswine is going to get off our Stealth Rocks. It doesn't look like, aside from Aerodactyl, my opponent has a spinner of any kind. Or a defogger, I should say. So, we're going to have ourselves a jolly old time as we get off our Stealth Rocks. A jolly old time because it's Christmas time. As I record this, you might be watching in the far future where Christmas doesn't exist anymore. Goodness gracious. That's okay though. Now to keep the momentum of the show going, we're going to start the timer. It's nothing against my opponent or their team or anything. We just got to keep things moving forward. So, Mamoswine is going to get off a layer of Stealth Rocks, and because I'm pretty confident Ragtter has to switch here, I'm actually going to try and get the upper hand. I'll save Mamoswine for a little later. I'll switch into Zapdos so that I can put offensive pressure onto my opponent. Must have been predicting the switch because he goes for the Hidden Power. Does a decent chunk of damage to me. I've also shown at this point that I'm not carrying leftovers. So I wonder if that's going to factor into how my opponent approaches this. Ragtter going to go for the Volt Switch. I went for the Heat Wave because I was expecting not the Goodra. I was actually honestly expecting the Gastrodon, but that's okay. Now because I am choice specs, we are going to have to hard switch, but we'll hard switch into Whimsicott, and Whimsicott's capable of doing quite a bit to mess up this Goodra. So we're going to go for the U-turn, just to get our Volt turn momentum going, and I'm going to switch into Reuniclus, who is one of the bulkier special Pokemon on the team. And because I'm not really threatened by the Goodra, I want to go for a Calm Mind. Now if I go first, I'll find out that the Goodra is carrying Dragon Tail, and that will be good information for us, and if it doesn't have Dragon Tail, then I think Goodra's going to be pretty hard-pressed to stop Reuniclus's sweep. In fact, with a couple Calm Minds up, my opponent's team is pretty severely weakened by Reuniclus, so I'd be pretty interested to see how they respond. And you know what? Even if Reuniclus can't pull this off, even if we lose this game, that's all perfectly okay, because we're just here to have fun, and we're here to relax. There does not need to be any stress. There doesn't need to be name-calling. There doesn't need to be any shenanigans. The rank doesn't matter. All that matters is just using Pokemon you like and having fun. If you're a bit more into it like I am, you can figure out some strategies. Like this here is an offensive Volt-turning team. But you don't have to use those. You don't have to use anything. You can just play how you want and have a good time that way. Now, the Gastrodon is an interesting choice. I'm just going to fish for a hit. The Toxic is actually not going to do anything. I am a Magic Guard Reuniclus, so my opponent has really done nothing to help their cause. I'm just going to go for an additional Psyshock. Gastrodon goes for Recover. That tells me that I should start stacking up on my Calm Minds. So let's see if my opponent sticks around after seeing my Calm Mind shenanigans. I say shenanigans a lot, but that's okay, because really, that's what we're doing here. We're playing games, and we're having fun. We're getting up to mischief with our calm Reunicluses. Reunicli? Either way, let's see how my opponent responds to Reuniclus this time. Ooh, accidentally kicked something under my desk. Going to go for the Scald, just trying to do a bit of damage where they can. And now I should be able to out-damage that Recover, so let's just start nailing away with the Psyshocks. My opponent, again, shouldn't have anything that can take these hits very well. Gastrodon is going to be knocked down. It will be able to take another hit if it goes for the recover, so I'm just going to go for one more Calm Mind just to get myself all nice and boosted up. My opponent must have a plan for the Reuniclus or they wouldn't let me go on this long. I am going to be able to pick up the KO onto Gastrodon though. I'm imagining one of my opponent's physical Pokemon coming out, probably the Aerodactyl or the Slurpuff, but that's okay, I am quite physically invested, I do not mind taking a few hits. So in fact, let's see how hard Aerodactyl hits as I go for a Recover, just to put myself maybe into respectable HP, and if not, Aerodactyl's Wing Attack is going to take out my Reuniclus with a critical hit. No idea if it mattered or not, but that's okay. Now we're going to go into Crawdaunt, and let's see if Crawdaunt can't pick up the KO onto old Aerodactyl here. It's a pretty obvious move, me going for the Aqua Jet, but it does put immediate offensive pressure on my opponent, because my Aqua Jet, actually that didn't hit very hard at all. I lied to you there. Well, now because I do not fear anything from the Chestnut with my Whimsicott, I'll be switching into that. Whimsicott's going to take the Drain Punch magnificently, going to get a little bit of HP back. And now, I'm going to go for the Encore, just to make sure it continues to go for... Actually, the Spiky Shield is perfect. Or does the Spiky Shield block statuses? I was wondering if it worked, perhaps like... Going to go out into Slurpuff, that's perfectly fine. I was wondering if perhaps... Spiky Shield worked like King's Shield, where it only blocks physical attacks and not statuses. Slurpuff is going to go for the return, but it's been paralyzed. So with that, I feel pretty comfortable in just going for another Moonblast. It's got the Facade as well, that's pretty interesting actually. I will now be U-turning out. And I will head into... Zapdos, I think. I think Zapdos can take a hit or two from Slurpuff. It is going to take the return. Not the nicest, admittedly, but it takes it nonetheless. And now let's go for the Volt Switch. It's going to knock Slurpuff out of the game. And now we can go into Beedrill. And Beedrill also threatens the entirety of my opponent's team, bar that Aerodactyl. But if I can keep old Crawdaunt alive until the very end of the game, then the Aerodactyl becomes a complete non-issue because of my Choice Banded Aqua Jet. Actually, aside from the Chestnut, Choice Banded anything off of Crawdaunt is going to hurt my opponent's team, as even Goodra is not going to enjoy taking a Choice Banded knockoff. So Aerodactyl is in fact going to come out here. It's to be expected. So I'm going to go for the Protect, just to get my speed up. Aerodactyl is actually going to go for its Hone Claws. And now, I am put into a bit of a bind, but I don't think I need Zapdos anymore, so I'll be switching into that. Aerodactyl is going to go for the Wing Attack. And now, I can actually bring in Mamoswine, and it was very smart of me to save this until now. And we can go for the Ice Shard in order to capitalize on this. So Manectric is going to end up coming out. The Ice Shard is going to do a lovely chunk of damage. And I feel pretty comfortable in just sitting here and going for Ice Shard again and again. Nothing on my opponent's team wants to take an Ice Shard any longer. Mamoswine hits very hard. And all three of these Pokemon are in fact weak to the Ice Shard. So with that in mind, I'm just going to go for it again to get off what damage I can onto the Chestnut. It's going to go for the Spiky Shield, but Ice Shard is not a contact move. So I'm not upset about that at all. I think I actually outspeed the Chestnut. So what I actually think I want to do is go for the Endeavor to knock it down to a fairly ludicrous amount of HP. And old Mamoswine's going to get knocked out here. But that's going to let me go into Beedrill. And now Beedrill can go for the U-turn. Chestnut is going to go for the Spiky Shield just to hurt Beedrill a little bit. But that's perfectly okay. I can go for the U-turn again. My opponent has no rocks. Chestnut is in fact going to go down. And now I can go into Whimsicott, who, by nature of its prankster ability, threatens both of my opponent's Pokemon. And that's what you have to do with this team. You just have to keep up as much pressure as you can put on. So Aerodactyl's going to switch in again. I'm going to go for the Sunspore. It is going to miss, but Aerodactyl's wing attack will take me out. And now this leaves me to go into Crawdaunt. And Crawdaunt can go for an Aqua Jet to take Aerodactyl out of the game. And that leaves me alone with the Goodra. Goodra's going to take some damage from the Stealth Rocks, and let's see how much I can do. Not very much, but in turn, it is a several hit KO for Goodra to take out Crawdaunt. Oh, I do get the poison though, and that's going to be the end of Crawdaunt right then and there. So now let's head into Beedrill. And let's go for a knockoff. Oh, Goodra is actually going to hang on, goes for the Flamethrower, not going to be able to pick up the KO onto Beedrill, and we can go for the U-turn to finish things off. And that's that. What an exciting battle that was, actually. When I sat down, I didn't think that this battle would be as good as it was, but my opponent certainly put up an excellent fight. I'm saving that replay for later, because I want to show that off. And honestly, that was such an even game that I feel very excited now. Like, that was a very good competition. I felt like my team was definitely pushed to the edge, and I had to use all of my resources available to bring out that victory. And that makes me feel really good. That makes me feel like I'm smart, and that I made wise decisions in my team building, and that I made good choices while I was playing. So, I'm going to leave it off here. If you have enjoyed this episode of Ladder Anxiety, if it made you feel better in any way at all, please let me know all these things down below with a like and a comment. And I will see you next time as we return to Pokemon Showdown to have some more fun, to relax some more, and to show you just how much fun Pokemon can be. Until next time, thank you for watching, take care, and have a good one. Bye-bye!